Welcome to the first video of what will hopefully be 12 videos for Introduction to Management. I've had a lot of technical trouble getting to this particular point, but I'm confident that the machine is actually recording me for once. Take 4. So my name's Olaf Muehling. I'm the course coordinator for this subject. It's, for a lot of you, one of the first subjects in formal studies in management you've done, so it's going to be a little bit interesting at first, but I hope by the end of the semester you'll have got a good grasp of the complicated world of management. We often associate management with the good times, white collar, sitting back and having long lunches, but unfortunately management is complicated, and which is why this textbook that we've assigned for this course focuses on this core issue of competing values. The reality is that when we manage, it's not all perfect number crunching and long lunches. It's not all white collar and no sweat. The reality of a manager is very, very complicated. Just to give an example, I used to manage a media company. And I was very good at the people person stuff, like I was good at making people feel good. I was good at listening to their problems, good at taking the pulse of the human side of the business. I was less good at crunching down, at pushing back when things didn't go well with certain members of staff. So in terms of performance management, I was all positive and not so good at handling the negative. I was very good at the big picture side, but I was not so good at the spreadsheet side and micromanagement of paperwork and bureaucracy. To this day, I'm still fall down in that area. So to be a good manager, you need to have a bit of a soft side and a bit of a hard side. You have to have a bit of a number side, a bit of a big picture side. You have to have a creative side and a controlled side and an organized side. Anyway, let's look at this in a little bit more of a formal sense, which is what we're going to do. But in a business, you typically have to focus and balance between the inside of the company, the human factors, the machines, the number crunching, the organizational side, and the external factor, the policy, environment in which you're operating, your clients' tastes, and changing market conditions. Unemployment can, for example, impact on your business. The unemployment rate might seem like a very vague number for you, but when you're trying to recruit and unemployment is very low, you'll find that you struggle to get good quality candidates. When unemployment is low, some of your best staff may be tempted to go and get jobs elsewhere because there's competition for good quality staff. So external factors as well as internal factors need to be balanced in handling the world of business. There's also this issue in relation to myself I just touched on. I was good at showing flexibility. I was good at fostering creativity and improving motivation in staff who were self-motivated types and self-organized and self-determined types. I was less good at doing the control aspects. Now, some business owners and some managers take the control aspect too far and stifle creativity by being excessively document and tick boxing focused. But this is quite a normal tension between these two extremes within a business, and it's a very good way of dividing these tensions up. Now, if you put these four together, you produce this matrix, this four-way matrix of structure that works for different ways of looking at different aspects of a business, whether you're looking at business structure, business culture, business communication. Let's have a look at that. And the textbook is really quite good in this regard in not too boring a way, illustrating these tensions. So we've got flexibility and control on the one axis, and we've got internal and external on the other axis. Now, flexible companies with a very strong internal focus tend to be thought of like a family-style businesses. And within these businesses, a little bit like with myself, the focus was very much on keeping the people happy and the rest will look after itself. A very strong, what we call human resources focus. Whereas ones that have high degrees of control and are focused out on the outside of the world, on clients and regulatory authorities, etc., they tend to be market-orientated companies. And for them, profit is the bottom line. The bottom line is profit. those companies that have high degrees of flexibility but an external focus, again, market-orientated focus, they tend to be what we call adhocracies, or ones that are capable of, ad hoc means to the situation. It's a Greek word for, fitting towards a, made up on the spot, so to speak, for a particular situation. These companies tend to be innovation or innovative companies. And then finally, those with a very strong internal focus and with high degrees of control are what you would call bureaucracies, which I've spelt wrongly, hierarchical structures, where the boss has a very strong, what we call panoptical, or ability to see everything within the company, a panoptical focus on all elements of the company, and everybody has their role and sticks to it and follows the rules and regulations. So just very quickly, the family style business has a cooperative approach and a very strong staff focus. The innovation people are orientated towards creativity and adaptability to changing conditions. The market-orientated companies, profit, productivity, competitiveness, customer focus, and the hierarchies based on, as I said, rules and facts. Now, if you look at it through this dimension, you'll find that there is this kind of tension in this matrix between the ones on the opposite end of the scale. Those companies that are focused on innovation are kind of antithesis. How do you say it? And I can't remember. I can't ever get the adjective right. But they're kind of the opposite of those hierarchical bureaucracy type companies, because in this particular quarter of the matrix, the focus is on doing the right thing, narrowly following particular policies, and rigidity. Whereas on this end, it's really flexibility. But the trouble with this kind of process, it sounds very good, Apples and Googles type companies, but those Apple and Google companies actually wouldn't operate if they were solely working in that particular quadrant. They have to have the ability to document things for legal purposes, for tax purposes, for human resource purposes, for if a person gets fired, that they follow the right rules and regulations and going through proper due process. Similarly, there is this tension in the other dimension. These companies are all very well with happy staff, but in order for them to thrive, they need to have a bit of this quadrant taken care of. Everybody needs companies to survive, and companies in order to survive need to be productive, competitive, and profitable. So you need to reconcile all four styles in order to have a company, and this is where management goes from being a nice beige kind of subject. You probably thought, oh, well, I'll sign up for this. This sounds like a bit of nothing. But to be a manager is an extremely complex task, and we hope over the course of the degree to be able to teach you how complex it is and how to handle that complexity in a professional way. And as a manager, you'll need to develop skills and characteristics that cater to all four elements of all four quadrants, so to speak. So the ability to collaborate with other staff and collaborate with, we'll be forcing you through the course of this degree to collaborate with your fellow students, often from different cultures and countries and even languages. And that kind of level of collaboration is something that you need to do within companies anyway. You'll find yourself in teams of people that are quite different to yourself, maybe even not particularly your type of person, and you need to work with them. You need to develop the ability to be, as a manager, creative, or at least to foster creativity. And of course, you need to be able to develop the ability to put the company in a position to compete in the market. And markets are not getting any easier as time passes. And finally, from a legislative, bureaucratic point of view, you need to be able to document, control staff. You can't allow your staff to just go their own way unless you have an exceptional set of staff who are completely in sync with each other, in sync with company goals, and self-disciplined. And no one ever gets 100% perfect staff. So you do need to have the ability to control those elements of the company that need to be controlled for all sorts of internal and external motivations. I just want to say finally that as course coordinator, you're always free to contact me directly. My email address is easy to remember, even if you only remember my first name, Olaf, O-L-A-V, but my email address is o.meurlink@cqu.edu. As I say, there's not too many Olafs at CQU, so I should be easy to Google if you forget everything else. And very much welcome you talking directly to your staff on the different campuses. And for Flex students in particular, don't hesitate to contact me because I'm your first port of call. Thanks very much.